Hi, Stowe School. Mr. West has asked me to do a presentation. It is more obviously designed for the rugby players, and I hope that I can support you in understanding the process regarding rugby at USA universities, the opportunities, the scholarships, the pitfalls, and just ensuring that you make sure that this is the right fit for you. So, to introduce myself, my name is Brett Taylor, and I've been doing this for a while. Just to go to the bottom point, I've supported families and schools that have been interested in looking at the USA for over 6 years and have probably placed, I don't know, over sort of 60, 70 to 100 students at various sports. But my focus is rugby because that was what I did. Although I obviously can support in other sporting areas, but today is going to be focused on rugby. Just in terms of knowing me and my background and my understanding of the sport, I was a professional rugby player at Northampton Saints. I ran their academy for 6 years, which was amazing. I had some great players come through that process. And I know that some of you might well be involved in that amazing club and that amazing process at the moment. So best of luck. I coached in two Rugby World Cups. Obviously, the best one was in 2003. That's the Suncourt Stadium there on the right-hand side. Played 2 to 3 games there and loved every moment of it. I've worked in numerous professional clubs and recently was the pro coach at Wellington College. So please don't hold that against me. I am a qualified teacher, so a lot of this comes from an educationist standpoint as well, and understanding the flows of what it's like, what you need to have in place, and where you need to be in terms of being successful in the USA. Right from the start, you have got to be 100% committed to this process. It is really, really important that you fully understand why you want to go and what you think the fit is. And I hope in the next sort of 5 to 10 minutes, I can briefly explain what you need to have in the back of your mind when you make these decisions. Okay, so what is a scholarship? Um, Rugby is at a slightly different level in that there aren't full scholarships. So if you're thinking about going to the USA and going, oh, I want a full scholarship because that's what they don't do those in rugby. There are some really strong scholarships, I would say between 50 and 60% at some of the universities, but not all the universities are varsity in terms of rugby standing, which means that they give rugby scholarships, but they do give aid. And hopefully I can explain that and what the difference is, and it will make sense. Okay, so obviously the full one that we've spoken about is what we call a full ride. This is what the American footballers are getting. This is what the track athletes are getting. So it's a full scholarship. It's either academic or sport, and it is absolutely everything. Okay, it's 100%. We are not looking there. We are looking at partial scholarships that are sporting, obviously with rugby, but we can stack in rugby, and I'll come on to that. So what happens with the partial scholarship is that you apply to, let's say, 5 or 6 different universities for rugby. You might go on a visit, you have coach conversations, you have call, you get to know the place. And then you apply, you get accepted, they will make you an offer, and the offer will be a certain percentage. And then that goes into a pot. But the difference in the USA is that all the fees go into one pot. So in the UK with UCAS, you basically have your loan, but then you pay for the rest of it. They put all the tuition, the books, the food, everything into one pot. They give you the scholarship, they take that bit out, and whatever's left is what you have to go and pay. So the learning point from this is that you have to pay something. You will have to pay something if you are going to go and play rugby in the USA. And you have to have that straight away. It gets cheaper to a certain extent because as you do well, there are different opportunities and different pots of monies in years 2, 3, and 4. So you've got to look at it at a 4-year window as a budget, as a family. Okay. How much does it cost? You can't, some of them are £90,000 a year, some of them are £30,000 a year. It depends which university it is, and obviously that is what you see when you Google, but then when you start to apply to them, there are different ways that you can look at aid. Okay, so Some do stacking. Some of the universities that are have really good rugby programs stack, which means that if you do really well in your A levels and your GCSEs are absolutely key. Okay, that is the first part. You've got to get decent GCSEs, and then really track well in terms of your A levels. And then if you want to do SATs and ACTs, that is a separate conversation, but it is well worth doing it. So stacking is that a university will accept you. Admissions will go, wow, you've done really well. We're going to give you this amount for your academic, because you got to get accepted academically first. And the teacher in me is now going to say that you go to the USA to go and get a degree. You go and internationalize your degree. And I think the education system over there for the universities is great. I love the flexibility that they have, and I'll come on to that in a minute. But you go and get merit aid, which is the bit in the middle. And they will give you that pot of money. Then the rugby coach might go, well, we're going to add on some rugby. So you've got merit aid, which is the academic stuff or some sort of scholarship that you might have there. And then you'll also have the rugby aid. And then what is left, then you can go and sort of, that's the bit that you've got the shortfall. But in years 2 and 3, you can then start to look at on-campus jobs for international students. There are different pots of money. There might be cheaper sort of halls and tuition. So there are ways of reducing your fees over the 4-year period. But you've got to buy into the process, and they've got to want you to be there, and you've got to want to be there. Financial aid, don't really look at it. Obviously, with some of the D3s which are more academic, don't get hung up about D1, D2, D3. It's all to do with the amount of money that the NCAA give. Obviously, rugby is a different beast, so it doesn't really fit in there. It has its own journey. So there are some D3 programs that are as good as a D1 program, and the rugby landscape is getting stronger and stronger. And I'll come on to that in a minute. But some of the universities, the D3 ones, the Ivy Leagues, do means test, which basically, if your needs blind, you can say we can only afford X £1,000 a year, and then they'll go, yeah, you've been accepted to Dartmouth, and they'll take that. Needs open is that they look at all your financial statements, your bank statements, etc., and that gets a little bit more difficult. So needs blind is basically the way that you want to go, and a lot of the higher echelon universities are starting to become needs blind. Okay, understanding rugby in the USA. I've kind of touched on this a bit. It is huge. Obviously, everyone talks about them winning a World Cup. That'll never happen. I've coached the USA national team for a long time. Obviously went to a couple of World Cups. They are great. They've got some great athletes, but they'll never beat the All Blacks. Might do in sevens, because that's the journey and it's an Olympic sport, and the Americans love to be a chronic achiever, and you've got to try and understand the American psyche. Now, having said that, the American collegiate system is really getting strong. There's great links into Major League Rugby, or MLR, which has got another 2 or 3 franchises. That is growing. It's got good TV rights. It's got a draft system now, a bit like the NFL and the NBA. So it's really, really growing, and they're looking at it at that area. And I cannot, if I had my time again, I'd go over there. I just think having the facilities, they just want to win. They want to win their conferences. When you go to a university, everyone buys into that university culture. They just support that university. And when you apply and when you look at that, you've got to take that into consideration. It's not like UCAS. You don't just stick the name at the top and hope. You've got to buy into the journey and buy into the reason why that university wants you and why you want to go there. The fit is absolutely essential. And if you do go through this journey, one of the things that we'll be speaking about right at the start is ensuring that the fit is right, academically, socially, financially, emotionally, geographically. All these types of things go into it. It's not a question of just emailing and just hoping you get something back. You've got to thrive there. And if you don't, it is hard work. It is one of the most competitive environments for sports people, for 18 to 23-year-olds, and rugby is the same. It is full on, but when it is full on, you buy into that. But when it's not, then that's when the time you've got a party and you can go and do stuff, and you go and embrace the fact that you've gone to the USA and everything that the USA brings. or I'll just go back to this one, sorry. How would USA Rugby compare to, let's say, the Bucks? I think some of the top universities will be consistently in the top 8 year in and year out from the USA if they came over here and played. I think every probably 3 to 4 years you'd probably have a USA university being in the final. The programs are really, really strong. And they've got some really good coaches there. A lot of the college coaches are actually the academy coaches at the MLR franchises. So there's a really, really good crossover, and you're in for a strong rugby journey, and they train hard. That is the thing. You need to be fit when you go, and you've got to buy into what they do because they train hard and they work hard and they want to win. Obviously, this is in here. This is obviously rugby based, and this would be if I was, speaking about across all sports, but I'll just skip through this one. Timelines, really, really important. We like in this business to really start in year 11. Year 11, you can do some research. You can go and visit. You can make sure that you really work well with your GCSEs and get strong GCSEs, because if you start to research and say, oh, I want to go to Stanford, excuse me, I want to go to Brown, I want to go to Harvard, and you get 7s, then you're not going to go there. So, if that's where your mindset is, then understanding where you want to go, why you want to go there in year 11, and engaging with some of the, colleges and going to visit, it's all really, really good to visit and get a feel for it. I think it really, really opens eyes, and you get a real sense of how amazing these institutions are in terms of their facilities and what the vibe is like, and whether you like an urban environment or a rural environment, or big or small. Then once you've got your GCSEs, that's when literally we can press the button and go start speaking to coaches, send video footage, get you speaking, get you over there, and then starting the application process. And then obviously, hopefully by sort of come Christmas time, in year 13, then you've made your decision and the applications have gone in, and we can then start to hopefully get some acceptances, and then you start to get into your visa process. But the earlier you start, the better, is basically the key from this slide. As I said, what can go wrong? Starting too late. Not understanding the level they're up against in an American context. It's a global market, and obviously, coaches are picking from South Africa, from New Zealand, from everywhere in terms of rugby. So you've got to go over there, and you've got to want to work, and you've got to want to be a first team player. If your aim is to go and party, then you will get kicked off, and you probably won't last. And it is a bit like those dodgy Hollywood films. You've got to do your work. You've got to do your academic work, and you've got to do it on a rugby field as well. All the rest of it will fall into place, but you've got to make sure that you get that fit right. Not understanding the fit. As I said, visiting the campus, getting a feel is great. Meeting coaches and the team, speaking to coaches, but understanding where you think you are going to thrive as well. Don't just look at name brands, please. Okay, a lot of them don't have scholarships. Yes, I have placed at UCLA. Yes, I have placed at Dartmouth, at Brown, and numerous other places, Notre Dame, University of Arizona. But there are some amazing other universities. So please, please, please be really, really open-minded. If you just said, oh, I want to look at Cal Berkeley, Stanford, and UCLA, that they're tough places to get into. In fact, a 1.5% chance of everyone in the world this year trying to get in has got that opportunity, only 1.5. Now, obviously, rugby and sport can help, because if they want you, then they can accelerate that a little bit. Also, the reason why I'm doing this is that if you go no, then I've done my job. If you go yes, I've done my job. If you go no, that means you can go then focus on your UCAS stuff, and you can go and work with Stowe, and you can make that easy. If you keep juggling both and say, I'm not too sure whether I want to go here or I want to go there, yes, apply obviously UCAS route, but if you do in America, but you understand the balance, because the two processes that have different timelines, and it's very, very important that you understand the timelines in terms of the applications and what's required from yourself as an individual, but also from the school. I'm not trying to put a downer on it, but it is a tough environment to be in, and you've got to be 100% committed to want to go there. But having said that, it is phenomenal. the sports facilities are incredible. The crowds are amazing. You will buy into that journey. There is no better place in the world to go and train and be involved in sport. Unbelievable facilities, unbelievable crowds. Just look at the bottom corner. I think that was Oregon, which everything is there. They are just sporting environment. It's just quality, and I can't say enough of that. Also, from an academic perspective, if you six out the top 10 universities in the world are in the USA, and 70 in the top 100 are over there as well. I'll go back academically. The journey's got to be right as well. And as an academic myself, and being in education, it's really, really important that you do ensure that you get that journey right academically as well. It's huge sport in America. As I said, there is a huge amount of funding that goes into the NCAA. It's a really cool slide, but basically there's over $6 or $7 billion a year goes to students to play sport at universities. You do train like a pro. I'm not going to hide from the fact it is busy. You've got to get your academics in, you've got to get your work in, and coaches will push you hard. Pre-season in rugby is tough, but if that's what you want to go and do for 4 years, I can't think of anything better. As I said, I would have loved to have done it. The academic program for me, I think, is great. You have that opportunity. You don't actually have to pick your major until year 3, which, unlike UCAS, where you have to put and say, I want to go and do chemistry, and then you hate the chemistry course and change it, then you're behind the curve. You're behind the curve a little bit, and you change courses. You can keep changing all the time in terms of what you want to go and do. I think this is great. You kind of get credits that build up, and then obviously these move into your major, which you pick in years 3 and 4. I love the flexibility, and I love the ability to kind of experiment educationally. And I think it's a pretty healthy system in terms of helping people who are 18, 19, 20, 21 actually really understand what they want to do. I think if I ask the question now, what do you want to do at university? A lot of you go, I'm not too sure. I might like that, or I might like that. That is them answering that question in terms of helping you understand what you want to do educationally. I know there'd be loads of questions. I just wanted to put this brief kind of chat together just to go through some slides. Obviously, you'll have this, and that you can stop and look at it and go and think about questions. I love this map. I love the logos. I love everything about university franchises and what goes into it, and the love and the passion. And some of those name brands are bigger than some of the NFL teams. You look at Oregon there, you look at Cal Berkeley, you look at Texas, you look at the Gators down in the corner, and these, especially in the Olympics, you look about how many individuals these universities are producing that are performing at the world stage. So it is a cool sporting environment. Obviously, go and speak to Mr. West, but if you are interested in having a conversation, then please go through him. I have put my email address at the bottom. If you want more information, or to ask questions, or to book a call, then get hold of me, and then I will give you my telephone number, or we'll organize a Zoom or whatever it might be. I hope that has been of some help, and I look forward to hearing from you.